So clearly, everything I've just said is hitting home to a lot of photographers because my DM is flooded right now with people basically saying, yes, bitch. So maybe we'll go on a live Instagram in a little bit. I'm going to see if one of my photographer buddies wants to join me, and maybe in a couple hours. Going to go blow off some steam in the gym. All right, we're going live now, and I am waiting for Mr. Xavier D'Angelo to join me. We're gonna be hopping on a little topic, and by the way, I'm gonna keep this up for the 24 hours or whatever it is. Actually, me. All right, let's see, Angelo, hop on here, man. Let's. There he is. Oh my, look at that lighting. Holy.
Hey, come on, man. You know, it's a lighting show. You know that.
Yeah, but you gotta put your head up higher.
Oh, a little higher? Look, man.
Yeah.
All I gotta do is just bring it down a little lower. There it is, right there.
That's it.
Nah, cool, man. How's everything, buddy?
Dude, I like that little do-rag.
Hey, man, I'm trying to
Do you, halfway through, are you gonna reveal the wave?
The models should understand if they just got their fresh hair, they normally wrap it up.
Yeah.
Come on, they know.
Are you halfway through gonna take that off and show us your wave?
Listen, they're not waves. They look like waves from here.
Hey, how do you do that, by the way?
I just got my hair braided, so they're fresh braids. So you kind of just want them to look good in the morning. You know, it's like when you go to sleep and you kind of want the little comb over thing, but you want it to look proper in the morning. I
just can't do it. Man. I think it's that Aryan hair that it's flavorless. Anyways.
Go on.
Hey, so to anybody that's hopping on here, this has to do with my little story rant that I put up, and then I called Angelo. I'm like, you know what? By the way, do you want me to call you Xavier or Angelo? How do most people know
Xavier is good. Xavier is good because, you know, a lot of people don't know that originally we used to go by my name Angelo, but I changed it up to Xavier years.
Yeah, see, your old school friends know you as Angelo.
Yeah, anyone that knows me, anyone that calls me Angelo, they definitely known me at least 5-6 years plus, easy.
Yeah, okay, well, that's me. This is why I call you up for these things. By the way, Marielle, my son, is on here. Hey, buddy, how you doing? So I have a lot of children that are like in their late 20s. So Xavier, okay, so we always like here's something I want to make clear. One, this is not two photographers bullying up on models. Okay, correct. That's not the idea of this this little live stream. But also, I know. Go ahead.
Interrupt you. You did mention, you know, a part on photographers too. So we definitely have to, you know, just put on the photographers as well.
Absolutely. It was just somebody asked. I knew. Actually, somebody said something to me, obviously, before they got to the end of my story and said, hey, what about, you know, or it was more like, well, hey, photographers. And I said, yeah, I know, but unfortunately, I can't, I'm only speaking from something that's current to me right now and not every topic of every person that's, I'm not going to do that in every post. It's just impossible. And by the way, there's no shortage of online complaints already existing about photographers. So it's not like that's a hidden topic that hasn't been surfaced 24/7 in the past, couple years. So I don't think there's a lack of representation on that side of things, but I definitely think that photographers sort of tend to keep this frustration only within their own photography like circles, because I hear about it all the time. And even this little particular rant, like part of it is some of my own very recent experience, but along with the fact that I just, had one of my buddies just leaving me a voicemail yesterday about somebody, that I know that flaked on them. I hear it all the time because one thing that I'm happy about is many photographers kind of.
I mean, let me give you an intro on. Sometimes people tend to forget gratitude. Gratitude is so important,
The fleeting art of gratitude. That's what this should be called. If this was a podcast, it goes, that would be.
Oh, well, let's say, for example, I'm going to let's bring it back into when I first started photography. People don't know I'm originally from West Palm.
Right.
And now, luckily, photography got us to the point where we can get an apartment in Miami. I mean, the same way
right.
you live between Fort Lauderdale and Miami as well.
Right.
So I'm living between West Palm and Miami. So before I can even get an apartment here, I had to drive from West Palm to Miami for 5 years. But
yeah, dude, I used to talk to you when you're on that drive. Go an hour and a half during rush hour or whatever for every 2-hour shoot that you had to do. You were actually putting in more time in driving than the actual shoot, and then that's not even getting started on the editing process.
I spent at least 40 hours on just traffic a week.
Yeah.
Just traffic. Because I wanted to do my dream was to work with models, with amazing models. But now the topic of the gratitude and flaking to me, imagine how you think I felt to be excited to work with a model, to wake up. One, if we say we have an 8 o'clock shoot, to me, yes, it's 8 o'clock for you, but they don't know I'm coming from West Palm. They don't need to know what my
right. You don't rub it in anybody's face either.
They have nothing to do with them. You understand? But what I used to do, I'll get 4 in the morning, get prepared, right? I get on the road at 6, and then you was there to Miami, and the girl cancels.
Yeah.
So some of them don't understand that. To get up and drive, and on the road, 2-hour drive, it's raining, bad traffic, you park, you calling the girl not picking up, texting, no reply. And, at the end of the day, this is what I signed up for.
Right.
In the beginning, we're naive. We're young, we're naive. We don't even expect that to happen. These things just happens over time. It's actually to the point where you don't even, it doesn't feel as bad. Remember those days when a model would cancel on you and you hurt? Now it's like a model.
Listen,
hey, well,
you already know it's 50-50 going into it.
Correct, 100%.
You've been doing it long enough to know. Now listen, I should just stop real quick and back this up and say something before we go too far into it. I would say, okay, for shoots, for paid shoots, this doesn't really even happen, okay? But we're talking about collaborations here, which is what most photographers experience. And me personally, I think what bothers me about it is that I don't do a lot of them. There's a lot of people, like I would love to shoot for fun, but I've got to run a business. So I prioritize all my clients, all the people that pay. It's not necessarily, I'm doing this as a business and it's not a hobby for me. So because of that, I missed out on a lot of shoots, when it was a fun hobby, it still would happen. But now I'll tell you the times that I'll do shoots for a collaboration just for fun is mainly when I'm traveling, right? Because it's hard to, I really can't give you the same, my test package that if you come to Miami, you're going to have to go on my site, sign up, and there's my rates and everything. You know what you're going to get. It's hard for me to repeat that in other places, right? It gets really complicated and tricky to say, okay, because I don't necessarily have my go-to hair and makeup artist. I don't have my go-to locations. I don't, necessarily, I can't bring everything I want with me gear-wise every time I, take a trip over to California or somewhere else. So usually what happens is I go on these trips, I bring the bare minimum, and while I'm there, if there's some extra time, I'll try to set up some shoots. And I'm also enticed by the fact that I'm in a new location. It's not exactly fun for me to go out and shoot Miami anymore. It's kind of, I'm just an autopilot on that. And not to say I'm not doing it for fun. So I'll still give somebody the best pictures, but it's not for me. It's their shoot, But now when I travel, that's when I'll do collaborations from time to time. So this topic came up because I just got done traveling. So I was in Mykonos for a week. I was in Barcelona right before that. So on all these trips, I reached out to people, and some I did shoot and some of them flaked out. Like in Barcelona, I really only had one free day. I got in touch with a model, and she just sort of ghosted, which, here's the thing, like I'm on a vacation, and if I'm there for 3 days, 4 days, and I'm offering you one half of one of those days, if I said yes, I've now blocked that off. I'm not making backup plans for you, right? And then when you cancel, it's kind of hard to make plans. So you've really wasted, if I was there for 3 days and you wasted a half a day, you've wasted, 1/6 of my trip, right? So you wasted like 15% of my entire trip. So with that said, that's the biggest thing here is just wasting people's time, right? It's the most valuable commodity we have, right? You can't get it back.
Why? Here's the thing, and you said it earlier. People appreciate a booking over a free shoot because they know the value of $1.
Yeah.
Because they don't see the value. It's like, you have to understand. And I'm always have to put it both ways because it's only fair. Because girls get booked too, and photographers get booked. So at the end of the day, when you're pulling $1 out your pocket and you're paying for someone's time, you're gonna appreciate that value of that dollar. But a girl can forget the value of the images because a lot of times these girls get booked with our images. We don't get nothing out of it, but we're happy that.
Well, we do also get something out of it because we enhance our portfolio. So it's not to say you get nothing out of it at all, but this is another part too. Even if, like, let's use the example of somebody not tagging you, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, they should do it just to be. If they liked working with you, like everybody wants to help everybody, so you tag each other. It's sort of a part of this online etiquette, right? If you don't, but even if you were just kind of a dick and didn't think of it just to be nice, you'd be not too bright to not do it, like to not tag a photographer. Just if you were only thinking about yourself and your business, because they're gonna look at that and say, well, fuck her, I'm not gonna tag her, and then you've just lost views, right? This is what it's all about. It's all about eyeballs. That's the whole name of this game, right?
I'm gonna be honest, if a model don't tag me on a caption, you literally it was no point in me editing that picture because it's like I do that. Here's the thing, not before. I used to be okay with just a tag on the picture. I used to be okay with that, but then I started noticing a girl would tag everybody.
Yeah. Right. The bracelet that you didn't even know was on in the shoot, and it's over your name. It's double. It looks like a fucking a Whopper, like a double stack. The tags are. It's like a 7-layer burrito of tags. Okay. And you're on the bottom. You're just hoping that a little piece of your name stuck out, so maybe somebody could use their fingernail to see it. Oh my! By the way, listen. If you pay me, I don't give a fuck if you tag me or not. You thanked me with the paycheck. So like to keep clarifying. I have no expectations. If you paid me, you do whatever the fuck you want with the images. I don't care. That was my thank you. But we're talking about what a lot of the photographers out there, it's not their job. They're doing it on the side. They're you know, sacrificing time with their friends and family to shoot. Again, now listen, we haven't gotten to the photographers yet and the shit they do wrong. We'll get to that. They're not angels.
Okay,
And to
where I have to disagree with somebody. Saying like when a person do not post the edit at all, at all. The reason why I have to disagree, because in the back end, and I can only speak for the photographer, in the back end, you don't know how many shoots I do in a week. You know?
Yeah, right, exactly.
You don't know how many shoots I do in 1 week. So let's say in a week I shot 7 girls. If you take 7 times 8 images, now we take that times 30 days. And within these 30 days, let's say I shot 20 times.
Yeah.
So 20 times, and we're not talking about how many girls we probably shot in a month. We can shoot anything between 20 and 40 girls in 1 month. And some girls that's not as active, they don't do as many shoots that we do in a month. You understand? So sometimes girls just have to bear with us. If you see we didn't post your image, I'm only speak for myself. If I didn't post your image, it's not that I'm not ready to post it. It's just we have so many images. We don't know what color scheme we're going for at the time. We don't know what special event is going at the time. I mean, like right now, I'm not posting as much. I know I mean, I focus on swim and beauty, but right now I'm not really focusing as much as swim because the weather's not looking cute, that's for sure. And then another thing is like winter, fall, winter is coming around. I want to post more, a little fashionable, a little more headshots because, you know, I do it for a lot. So we might change it up at times. So trust me, we definitely, it's not that we don't post your images that we don't want to. It's just not the time. You know, there's some images we shot 6 months ago, and around 6 months ago, it just didn't look good for us to post at the time. But now we gain new followers. You know, we got a new audience.
Yeah.
It might actually be better for us to post a little later on in time. You understand? So that's just how I feel about that part. I just didn't want to. I just wanted to explain that. Not a lot of times photographers don't post your images because we didn't want to. Sometimes it's just bear with us on that part.
Yeah. But somebody asked, how do you handle it when a model flakes or doesn't tag you? You know what I do? Because this is a good little question because this reminds me of a friend of mine who used to get upset and he would text them and kind of give them a little, like a little piece of his mind and try. And then what they would do is they would take a piece of that conversation and go send it to all their friends and look at this crazy asshole, right? So my thing is you have to be careful because that's a no-win situation, right? If you try to, there's no point in trying to teach a lesson. The reason I wanted to do this is because I'm not calling anybody out. I'm not going to name any names. That just creates a little feud. I'm hoping this is more of like giving a little insight to any models out there, photographers who are watching, to maybe give them some ideas or some, you know, things to just kind of think about going forward, to make it helpful information instead of accusatory info, right?
Right.
And you know, so what I do is I won't necessarily say anything to the model that didn't flake out or that flaked out, but what I will do is I'm gonna tell all of my photographer friends the next time I talk to them, by the way, you know, hey, we all share stories. So it's just like, you know, I sit and listen to models vent about shitty photographers and all the things they do. And I always say, damn, I don't want to end up on the other end of one of those stories in some room where I'm not there to defend myself, right? So, you know, everybody should be acting on their best behavior and treating, even if it's a collaboration, it's still a part of your job. When you're not shooting for somebody for a paycheck, we now, like it or not, live in this age where your Instagram matters. Your Instagram is like this constant portfolio, okay, that sort of signifies your relevance on a daily basis. Correct. So you can't just load up your website with your best 20 images that you shot over the last 10 years and then sit back and you know, wait for the phone calls. You now have to show work all the time. So you have to produce content constantly, right? So it really is a part of our job. That's our marketing. So in every business, you need to take some of your you know, your money, your resources to put into marketing. So that's a part of our business, is to, even when we're not getting paid to shoot, go out, make some new content that you think will attract the next job. So it's still a part of the job, right? And you need both the photographers and models to do it. So if one of them is kind of being a prick, you're sort of hurting the whole ecosystem,
One
you
of
know?
our test shoots. Test shoots is one of our marketing. Matter of fact, I have the most fun in my test shoots. Reason being, if I do get the perfect model that I wanted to shoot, and she have great energy, and I'm shooting, we're free. We don't have to like worry about, there's a client telling us how everything has to be structured. Things got to be pinned to the back. I do have my fun, and a lot of my best work, 85% of my best work, I would say, come from test shoots. Now, the other 15% is not that we don't give the client our best work. It's just, majority of the time, it's not really coming from us. They have a vision board of what they want. And all I can do is respect that. We might add our own little emphasis on that. But for me personally, I love test shoots. I enjoy having a great model. Now, to answer how do I go about a model that might flake? Like you said, I've got to the point where I'm like, okay, thank you. Okay, love, I understand. Simple as that. It's like, okay, love, I understand. Whenever you're ready to shoot again, just let me know. But realistically, you kind of like, if I had like 100 models list that wanted to test you, you kind of just went all the way bottom to the bottom, and then it's gonna take you. We might wait for another year to even.
Yeah, and also just so this isn't like here we are getting down on models. I want to point this out too. I would say that for collaborations, I would say this is only like 30% of the models that won't say thank you, that sort of don't seem to appreciate. They'll get your photos. You'll be like wondering, I wonder if they got them. I haven't heard anything in 2 days. All of a sudden they're posting them, and you're like,
posted, yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess they liked them, right? You would just think, and probably this is like the same girl that can't take the 1 second to say thank you. It's probably the girl that goes, ballistic on her boyfriend if he leaves her on red for 10 minutes, 100%. Right? So this is not everybody. In fact, I did a handful of collabs because I was traveling over this past month, and I would say it's about 30% that sort of, treat it as sort of they are entitled, and the rest are super appreciative. So the majority are great. Most of my experiences are really good. So I don't want to make this seem like, like the news where everything's bad. No, it's not. But I just think we can do better than 30% of people being lacking any form of gratitude, right? I think there's a better number. And to anybody that's just kind of joining, because somebody asked, so what's this about? This is sort of about the idea that, there's a lot of photographers, nobody really saying anything about it, about just sort of how taken for granted we can be and underappreciated when they are, giving up their time. And listen, I understand the models are also giving up their time as well, but
correct.
There's the part of it that when the shoot is over, the actual shoot, it's not over yet for the photographer. It's probably 1/3 finished. The other 2/3 of the time that goes into it are going to be, getting home, cleaning gear, uploading images, sorting out the images, editing them, possibly paying for them to be retouched. You know what I mean? There's a list of things that happens after the shoot. The shoot is like the fun part. It's the easy part. It's easy. It's the part why we all got in it, right? But the worst thing is you sit there. I just edited 65 photos starting yesterday morning and finishing midway today.
That's why your eyes bleeding, right?
Exactly. There's blood pooling in the back of my eyeballs right now, and
got a clip in the back.
It sucks that only half of the models that I sent images to actually replied with a thank you. You know what I mean? And even when I was on those trips, only half of the models followed through on the plans to shoot. So correct. Listen, this is the bad news for you young photographers. There's no level that you get to where it ends, where all of a sudden, everybody is being super respectful. It doesn't. So that's the shitty news, is that, the guys who are new are like, man, when I'm better, I can't wait to not deal with this. Sorry, you're going to keep dealing with it. It's a part of the game. And that's why we're talking about it, because I hope it would be less. And, you know, if
Well, I
anything,
do say one
it's almost like,
thing. There's some models that can say, like, I mean, I might throw one name out there because I'm pretty sure you worked with her before. I have to think like a model, like a Ally. Like, this a girl like that has been so great at appreciating photography. Her and her mom, I'm pretty you know what I'm talking about, Ali Martinez.
oh, yeah. She's awesome. Yeah.
Her and her mom is just one of the most. Them two people like have so much gratitude when it comes to shoots. Like after a shoot, you don't even ask. They want to take you to lunch or something like that.
Yeah. Amazing.
Or
Just like 50 Shades said, she'll take him
on
to
a
lunch.
birthday, I just remember a birthday one time. They just randomly say, "Hey, let me take you to lunch on your birthday." And it's little things like you have to understand. Imagine every test shoot that you do with a model, you literally giving away like up to $1,000, $1,200. And but when you get a person that says, "Hey, I just want to remind you, thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Thank you for those edits. Oh, did I make a mistake on something, or did I tag you right, or you know, things like that." To me is just amazing to see when you have those type of things. Why you keep a long relationship with a photographer. A girl might go through a stage where she may not shoot, but just because you remember that gratitude, you kind of like, I'm a shooter regardless. It don't matter what she goes through. I don't even shoot.
Right.
She could be
Yeah.
a shooter because
Listen, I don't shoot the prettiest girls for, you know, like collaborations and stuff. Uh, Honestly, here's what, and by the way, photographers, a little note, when you think, oh, I would like just love to shoot that girl, like there's something about it, like her look, I think she'd be great for my portfolio or whatever. I would advise you, because this has turned me off many times. I just go on their page and look at their other photos. Are they tagging their other photographers? You can get a glimpse
oh
of
yeah,
what to expect by checking out their page, right? So as soon as I see that and I'm like, oh, they don't fucking tag anybody, fuck that shit. You know what I mean? Except for, you know, Fashion Nova or something,
I
right? Like, so
same thing. Yeah, for sure. I definitely do the same thing. I go to a girl's page and do it. It's like doing a background check, the same way they do a background check on us. They,
yep. And
you don't
models should
tag.
do the same thing. If listen, I've dated models, and I know both sides very well, right? I live this
Correct.
side, but I have been on the defending side for models many times over the years, whether they were friends or you know, a couple of the girls that I dated, and they've got a whole list of things they've got to do as well. And I tell them just as equally, like, do your due diligence. Look, if you see, you can easily get you know, basically check the what's the word I'm trying to say here? You can sort of do a history check on, or a background check on these photographers. Just go on their page, and you'll probably find some girls that you know that they've shot, and you can message them, simply say, hey, how was it working with so and so?
Correct.
Boom, there you go. You got a simple way to sort of you know, validate or get credit, you know, credibility for the photographers you want to work with. And I do the same thing with models. I might see a photographer that's friends with me. How many times have I reached out to you and say, hey, how was shooting with so and so?
You know,
We do that all the time. We
wanna,
all do that all the time.
I had girls that I really wanted to shoot with it, and luckily, I've been doing this a lot lately. I actually get on the phone with the girl before I even meet her, just to say hi, because I kind of want to fill out your personality, because your personality can make me change.
By the way, real quick, just so we don't forget this, people are saying, oh, I only do paid bookings only. Okay, I think that's, I'm sorry, I'm going to piss off some people, but I think that's a stupid thing to say, because being paid to shoot is not always a monetary exchange. And that's not the way to necessarily, you cannot build a photography career only doing shoots for money. Like, sorry, it doesn't work that way, because you're going to have very few shoots for the very first few years. If you're only doing it for money, you need to do it to tap into other networks and get eyeballs. It's a part of the deal.
The first question we need to ask is, how are you going to have experience on a booked shoot when you didn't do it for free? Like, I learned majority of photography doing free shoots, because we get to practice. How you going to know?
Exactly. And by the way, the somebody says models don't pay hell no. Does that mean, do you mean that models should never pay for a shoot? Because if so, that's a fucking joke. That is the biggest, like, that's just
pay for shoes. I mean, then that's like, let me tell you something. You know, you want to know something? Listen, it works both ways. I'll tell you one thing. I had a model I DM. I said, hey, I would love to work with you. You know what she said? She said, look, unfortunately right now, I'm only taking paid gigs. You know what I told her? I respect it. Now,
yeah,
it was me to make a choice whether I wanted to book her or not. Because
yeah,
at the end of the day, it's the same thing the other way around. I get girls that write me that wants to shoot, and I say, hey, you know what? This is my rate. So either or, it doesn't matter which way it goes. It
right,
really
absolutely.
don't.
Yeah, I wouldn't take it personal if I was like, hey, I would love to shoot, and they go, hey, listen, you know, right now I'm just, you know, I'm so busy, I'm only taking paid. Cool. I say that that's mostly what I say. Like I said before, the only time I even tend to have a little free time to shoot is when I'm traveling. And that doesn't mean I would love to. There's so many people I want to shoot. I love shooting. Like, that's why I do it. This started out as a fun, you know, hobby of mine that turned into a career, right? But it's a career now, and I
Correct.
want to keep my house and my car and all the things that I have to pay bills on. So I have to make decisions based on, you know, what's the you know, most efficient way to survive, not what's the most fun and, you know, who's gonna get me the most likes on Instagram. That's not how I do it. But with that said, okay, and you know, when it comes to this idea of only shoot for pay, like, again, I personally look at it as like, I never shoot for free. I never shoot for free, but I don't get paid for every shoot. I don't get paid with dollars for every shoot. I don't shoot for free, right? So sometimes I might shoot somebody might say, hey, I would love to shoot. I'm like, oh, they're you know, really pretty. Well, okay, how about this? I'll shoot you, but you have to shoot in this swimsuit that I am getting paid monthly to post.
100%.
And I'll be completely transparent and say, this is how, you know, in a sense, I will get paid by shooting you. So if you're down to do that, I'll do that, you know? So there's always ways to, yeah, go ahead.
Let me throw something out there. And like we said, we don't want models to feel like we're going on them, but there's certain model etiquettes that they have to, okay, most important, if we decide to test shoot, right? I'm getting tired to like, it's supposed to be 50. Can you agree? It's supposed to be 50-50. Meaning we have to kind of bring something to the table, both sides. Because it's getting to the point where I just show up and I come up with the makeup artist, I come up with the styling, they said a girl just show up. And then like I'm getting to the point, it's like, listen, and another thing I don't like, sometimes girls, and I pay attention to details now because working with a lot of clients, that I start paying attention to if your nails are chipped. You know what I mean? Your eyebrows. Yeah. I don't know why I'm like, model, come as model. Don't just show up, because you have to show up like if it was a job. Because the same way I showed up to the shoot like it's a job, I brought my reflector, I brought fresh memory cards, fresh batteries, everything that I need. I might have an assistant, right? I want to please bring the 100% model to the shoot. I mean, it's small details now that I'm starting to pay attention to, because now I don't want to test you to turn into, well, you know, not only I brung everything, then at the end of the day, then I don't get tagged.
Yeah.
I brung.
By the way, 50 Shade says, I hate it when I see that you have to be super skinny. Listen, Ignite is not the only job out there. Like, you can't sit around, you know, I know girls who get all bummed out because there's some brand they really want to work with and they're like, oh, but they only hire this type of girl. So what? That's their choice. You can go start your own brand and hire whoever you want, but there's a million brands out there. I would love to shoot for Sports Illustrated, right? But I don't get butthurt because I know that they use people they've been using for 20 years. You know what I mean? That it's like a family. There's not one job out there. I don't sit around and focus on the thing that I don't have. This goes back to the whole point of this is like this sort of fleeting sense of gratitude. Be grateful for the things you do have and stop worrying about the things you don't, right?
I mean,
And that
what was
includes
not for you,
jobs.
what was not for you was not for you.
Yeah. By the way, I thought of this funny analogy earlier. Like, why is it, like, what is it about people when you give them something for free, they act like it was theirs before you handed it to them, right? And I was like thinking, this is so true. Think about when you want to buy a t-shirt, right? When somebody wants to buy a t-shirt, they go to the store, they wait in line nicely, calmly. They
Right.
get up to the cash register, they pay, they give over their money, they say thank you, they take their shirt and they walk home. You go to some concert
They
and they
don't
shoot
watch your ass.
they
Right.
listen, you go to a concert and they shoot a t-shirt out of that cannon and everybody's fucking beating each other up for that stupid t-shirt that you wouldn't even pay for, right? They just turn into savages. And then when they get it, nobody goes, thank you. They're like, that's fucking mine. And then they go, it's this weird thing. And this is why I tell people, you want to be treated cheap, then charge cheap.
Right. No, I 100% agree.
Like it's just some weird human nature that people like have this, you hand them something and you will get the least appreciation because they're not invested in it. Exactly. No, you're not going to wear that shirt anyways. It's going to turn into a car wash t-shirt.
I think for me personally, as test shoots, I limit, like, let's say hypothetically, I limit the amount of, let's say, this is what I do. I can only speak for myself. Anytime I do a test shoot, I probably limit to maybe 1 to 2 looks. You already know what you're getting out of me before we even before I even leave my house. We have a on how many looks I'm doing. I normally don't do more than 2 looks. And the first thing I normally ask a model, I'm very compromising. I say, hey, how many edits will make you happy? I like to ask that question for one reason. It's because normally girls will say, you know what, I'd be happy with 2 to 3 edits. That's the number they always give us for some reason. 2 to 3, they say 2 to 3, but they always want more. But 2 to 3. So I'm like, okay, cool. Listen, we can compromise. Okay, let's do 2 looks. And I always limit how much time I spend on a shoot too, because why I started doing that is before we might go out shoot a girl for we shoot them with so many looks, and then at the end of the day you like, wow, this person was unappreciative, or I kind of, anytime I'm just meeting someone, I kind of limit how much I give because of the fact that I just met you. At the end of the day, I just met you.
Yeah.
And I think within time I can build and we can do more. I'm just not going to give you all of me right now. It's a relationship. And now I'm learned that, like, okay, for us to build a relationship, I'm just going to give you a little bit. Let me see how you treat that. Okay, all right, cool. Let's say if I shot a girl in like 30 minutes, I shot her 1 look. Okay, cool. Then I get back home, edit the images. Let's say I gave her 2 images. I kind of sit on and see what she does with it. And then, okay, shag me. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, now I'm like, I'm actually excited to shoot with this girl again. Like, I actually really wanted to shoot like 5 looks with her, but now I'm more excited to shoot with her again. It's like, now we're just
absolutely.
I found that's a system that works for me. That's a little bit.
That's smart, and I think I'm at the point where that's the way to go because my method up until now has just always been, look, I just want to get each shoot done, move on, and have it behind. I do prefer that. It kind of clears my mind. I don't like having a lot of jobs lingering. I just like to knock them out as soon as possible. Like, I just got home from, I've been traveling for 3 of the last 4 weeks, right?
Correct.
So, and some of it was personal vacation, some of his work, where I added a little time for personal. So maybe I did a little shooting in that personal time.
Correct.
So there's client stuff to be handled, which is always going to come first. But as soon as I got home, instead of going out and hanging out with my friends, even though I was working on my birthday last week, I get home, I was invited to go out over the weekend. I stayed home and edited photos. So again, this is kind of where this finally kind of like broke the camel's back a little bit, was that, I edited 65 photos and got thank yous from maybe half of the people I sent them out to, which is really kind of shitty. you know, that's, again, it's not everybody. And I even messaged a couple people, say, listen, if you see my thing, I'm not talking about you. So thank you for, you know, always being a pleasure kind of deal. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not coming down on, it's not every model by any means, but I have a buddy who does what you do essentially. And his thing is he will edit a few photos, hand them over and say, hey, listen, here's a few to get you started. You know, once you've posted those, I'll edit a few more. The only problem with that kind of makes it like this thing. Well, if I think the way that has to work is that you've got to get the model involved in the proofing process, because if you just picked out the photos and she's not happy with them, well,
And
she shouldn't have to post them, right? But if she told you, I love these 10 photos, and then you go, okay, cool, here's the first 5 of the ones that you said you love. But then if she sits on them and doesn't post any of them, then you're like, yeah, what's the incentive to do the other 5? If I'm doing the ones that she wanted and not even what I wanted. So I don't know if you do that, if you get involved. See, for me, on any pay job, the model picks out all the photos. I send proofs. They pick, it's their shoot, completely their shoot. On the collabs, sometimes it's a mix. Sometimes I say, hey, listen, you just got to trust me. I've got, you know, so much work. So just to get these done faster, just have faith that I'll pick out the best ones, but I'll give you plenty. And I'll tell them, I usually give about 2 per look. And if there was a look that just really didn't work, I'll just get more for the other looks or whatever. So I'm very clear up front. And by the way, models, photographers, have that conversation before you start shooting. This is one of the ways I see photographers, or I'm sorry, models getting upset at photographers very often, is they're like, yeah, I only got like 2 photos. I got no photos. But if you, hey, you know, this is a simple thing you can say to a photographer. By the way, you know, just so I know, how many photos do you think you usually send from a shoot like this? And then let them say what they said. So that way, if they went under, you could be like, hey, I love these 2. I know you said you usually give about 10. Do you have any idea when the other ones will be ready or whatever? Right. So now you have something because they sort of made a promise to you up front. Right. And now you can hold it to them. The problem is when you don't ask that question and then the shoot's over and then they send you 2 photos, you're like, shit, I didn't ask. Nothing was ever said. So I don't know what I can say. It's better to have, I know these conversations are usually a little awkward. It's easier to not have them, but they're way more awkward on the end of the shoot than they are in the beginning of the shoot.
Correct.
So just get them out of the way.
I don't think it's awkward at all, honestly. To X Brian was saying, one, I honestly don't have that issue of models posting proofs. I don't have that issue. I haven't had.
Yeah, I don't have that either. I just put a big thing on it. It says web proofs only. Do not post online. And then you're gonna look like an asshole if you post it.
In the past 3 years, I haven't even posted a watermark on my pictures, and I haven't had a non-edit, so I don't have those issues.
Yeah. And you only tend to have that with like very amateur models, because
you don't
the better models, they want you to do the edit. They want the edited version, not the proof.
Sure. They don't want
you
me
know what I mean?
But okay, now the proofing process, what I do is this.
By the way, photographers, if a model posts your proof and not your edited photo, you need to audit your own photography, because that's probably saying that you're over editing and they don't like the edit job that you did and they'd rather have the original. So the little notes of photographers out there that are like scratching their heads like, why aren't anybody posting my photos, and why are they even sometimes posting my proofs? Because you're editing too hard. But anyway, sorry to cut you off. I just had to throw that out there.
In the proofing process, what I learned was been working for me is this. If I shot one look, if I broke it down to the best 20, and let's say me and the girl already had a conversation, okay, we only need, I'll be happy with 4 images, right? What I try to do, I break it down to that last 10, because at the end of the day, you don't know what the images look like anyways. I seen everything. I already got rid of all the pictures I don't like. That's one.
Yeah.
So majority of the time, if you show girls 10 images, no matter one of the 10 you pick is something I like, regardless. I just want to pick something that I liked that you're going to post. Just that. Like, I think a lot of times photographers get mad with a model choosing an image they don't like. Well, they chose an image they don't like because you put it in the group of pictures. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. You should never hand over proofs with photos in there that you wouldn't want posted.
Correct.
So
Correct.
you almost should assume that the client or model or whatever it is, if you're sending proofs, this is kind of a little like side topic, but they might pick the worst ones. Okay, so do not include in your proofs photos that you don't want your name attached to, period.
All right.
But here's another thing too. When you're doing a collab, right? And again, we're kind of talking differently than, you know, any paid shoot, which is basically simple. I send proofs to the client, they pick, I edit, done. It's their shoot, they paid for it, they get whatever. Client gets what the client wants. But when it's a collab, that means it's both sides collaborating, right? Hence the, you know, term, right? So what I do to make sure that it's not just me picking and then it's like, well, because I want them to post, I want them to like the photos. I'll still send proofs, but I also know in a collab, like, it's important that if I'm going to edit 10 photos, I don't want to edit 9 that you liked, that you picked, and one of those I liked. I want it to be about half and half. So what I say is this: I'll say, hey, pick your favorite couple from each look, or I might even say pick your favorite 3 from each look, and I'll edit 2 of them or something like that. And let me know if there are, you know, a few photos out of all of them that you cannot live without. So I know the few that I don't want to get rid of out of the pile if I do a little bit of tweaking to what they selected. So I sort of say, give me like a bigger pot of your favorites, but let me know on the side, just, you know, put in the note. And I absolutely love number 10, 12, and
let me
21.
Tell you something.
And then that way I will make sure I edit those. And
I
then
don't like a model would do, and it pisses me off when a model does this.
Yeah.
I have to put my hand in my head for this one. When after I just edited 10 pictures, she haven't even did one image yet, and said, but there's this one image I really liked.
Now, listen, if you didn't send any proofs.
So you're trying to tell me you chose these 10. Hold on.
Okay, so they chose them. All right. So they chose the 10, and then they complained afterwards.
Okay, let's say, for example, I sent you 20, right? I sent you 20 images. I said, tell me your favorite 10, right?
Yeah.
And say, between that favorite 10, I'm going to take my favorite 5 out of the 10, right? So I pick my 5. There's one out of that 10 that you liked, and you're crying about the one that you liked, versus the 5 that you got. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah.
Like,
by the way, photographers, if you hand over your camera and you see a model taking a picture of the back of your camera, you better edit that photo. That is automatically now their favorite photo of the shoot. It's the one that they went home and they looked at for 2 weeks while they were waiting for their edits. That photo, it's like the saying, familiarity breeds content, right? So just, it might not be the best photo, but they're so familiar with it, they fell in love with it. It was like an acquired taste. And they fell in love with it over time. You're going to get a text with the picture from the back of your camera that says, where is this photo? So if you see, so I'm always careful. I always share, like, hey, yeah, check these out. Look at the back of the camera. Oh, can I take a picture? And I'm going to say, listen, I'm going to warn you before you take any pictures. I might not edit that photo. And it's not because it's not a good photo. It's because everything looks good on this little ass screen. But maybe when I blow it up, I see some very obvious things that make it a deal breaker. So I'm kind of careful because I know that's going to happen. Okay.
Everything looks good until you blow it. until you
every time. It's a... If you ever want to,
let me make you understand. When you have this, listen, this is how deep. When I'm looking at my picture, I'm looking at it this big. Okay, so everything looks good. Everything like will change overnight. Looking at images like this, like overnight, look at like, wow, okay, you kind of see everything on the person's face. It's a difference versus that little baby screen. Once you put that little baby screen up, it's like, everything looks good. Like, you don't even see no details. It's kind of like, wow, this picture looked good, past tense.
Yeah.
Then when you get back home, you're like, oh my God, it's terrible.
Yeah. Oh, it happens all the time. The big screen reveals a lot.
Oh yeah.
That you cannot, like I said, everything looks good on a 2-inch LCD. That's just, 100%. Yeah, you got to be careful. In fact, that's like, sometimes I'm like, damn, what happened? This shoot looked good. When I finally have it up in front of me at home, I'm like, God, it seemed like it was like, 9 out of 10 were good. Now it's like 1 out of 10. Yeah. It happens. It happens.
I
But
because
here's so we've kind of given our little pet peeves about models, and just some of them. But I'm going to tell you the biggest complaint I hear about photographers is just on
I hear you.
delivering, right? It's or lack
Yep.
thereof. So sometimes it's like I shot with that person 3 months ago and I still haven't got anything. This is why it's so important that not only you ask as a model just to protect yourself. So this is like I'm just trying to help the models here with a little advice. Ask the photographer not just how many photos, but okay, also and how long do you expect? By the way, if a model, even if a model doesn't ask me, I try to bring that up just so I don't there's no false expectations. If I know that I'm traveling for the next 2 weeks and I'm just squeezing the shoot in because, well, I'm here. So if I don't do it, there's no shoot at all, but I can't, doesn't mean I can edit it right away. Right. So I'll say that. I'll say, listen, just FYI, obviously I want to shoot, but I got to give you a heads up. I'm going straight from here to 2 weeks of traveling. And then I've got to edit those photos for those clients first before I can get to yours. So realistically, it might be 4 weeks. If I think it's going to be more than 2 weeks, I will let them know without them asking me,
In
right?
advance.
And
Yes, in
yeah,
advance. I agree with you on that. Because
you
you know
have to do
what?
that.
Let's be honest. Mostly test shoots take 2 weeks. I would say 14 business days because it depends because things happen. Things happen.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
anything that if I know already mentally, like, hey, you could a girl that really wanna shoot with you and say, hey, um, look, I really want to shoot with you, and I let him listen, baby. I'm really busy right now. I really want to shoot with you too, but I'm just letting you know it might take more than 2 weeks to receive these images. Now, if you can agree with that,
yeah,
we cool. We can shoot. But I just want to let you know, and
yeah. No, it's just putting everything on the table. It's being transparent. It's this full
oh,
disclosure, and
I want to throw another thing
and
out there. I want to throw another thing out there.
there's models that'll probably say, listen, okay, I get it. If it takes 3 months, at least they know going into it. But when I hear that, it's disappointing to hear photographers that haven't given back photos in a month, 3 months, 6 months, because at that point you can pretty much assume you might never get them. They've already parted ways with the idea. So, and listen, that photographer, it's just like me saying that next time I talk to my photographer friend, I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna give my little war stories of headaches and this and that. The model's going to do the same thing about that photographer. So, photographers, if it's going to take you 3 months, you better let the model know and have a good reason for it. You know what I mean? Like
I
that's just
I heard photography excuses too. I heard them like they won't say this to the model, but they'll like tell another guy. I'll be like, bro, I heard you. Like, what happened? Like, I hear photographers tell me, yeah, man, I didn't really. I shot this girl and I didn't really like the pictures, so I just never sent them. I said, bro, listen, I shot girls. I didn't like their picture, but I said,
that's not an excuse.
there's no excuse for that because it's not fair. It's not fair.
Yeah,
At the end of the day,
you know what you do? If you don't like the photos, you pick the best 50 and you send over the proofs and you let them decide. And if they say, honestly, like I really
but
only like these two, then edit those two and you're good.
then
You know what I mean? But you can't just ghost on somebody.
that's not fair
You
because I'm
you're gonna
mad when she
if
goes.
you're smart, you'll assume that they think that you're just a fucking idiot and a flake. So
In a jerk for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, photographers, listen, guys, and I want to, and I'm gonna chew photographers' asses for this one right here. Stop getting paid bookings and don't give the images. I've heard this a lot of models cry. And
I don't even understand that one.
I models tell me
That's like me going to the grocery store and I
I've
pay and then they take all the groceries that they've already bagged and they just put them behind the counter and then look at
heard
the next person.
photographers getting paid and
That's
don't
just shameful.
don't give the images. And that right there, I just want to let you know, you can like it or you don't. You are a shitty person. Just want to let you know, like you are a thief at that point. I heard a photographer this week going through personal shit, blocked the model, and she's just trying to get her pictures after she paid for it.
Oh man, this is why.
and it's like I've had photographers don't know. Like I had photographers don't even know. I wrote them like I write because I get a girl like don't know how to reach out to a photographer, and they don't know the girl's sitting right next to me, and I'm writing the photographer, right? And
Yeah.
I booked the photographer. The photographer don't even know I booked the shoot. The girl just showed up. Now, I'm
Right.
like literally like a low key booker for girls to help them out, and the photographer know we waiting for like 2-3 weeks for like proofs. Which, okay, cool, but your package says it should take like a couple of days, you know? It's like, you can't say you're doing one thing, but you don't follow up. If I took my package and say, hey, it should take like 3 to 4 business days to receive your proofs, if I'm going past those 3 to 4 business, I call someone. I'll call, hey, just want to let you know, I didn't forget about your images. They're uploading, or you know, I might have this issue. I've been outside of town. You have to communicate at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, we want long-term business. Because at this point, this is a business. It's a business.
Yeah.
So we have to treat it.
In other words, photographers, get your fucking shit together and come and keep track of where you stand. I just moved over to my computer because I'm going to show you something, and maybe this will help photographers to kind of think about how you can better organize. But I'm going to show you how I keep track of my shoots. Okay, so this is, I use this program called Monday. So, you know, I pay maybe a couple, 150 bucks a year. But basically, you can see all the shoots that I'm on, when the shoot is, and then like, let's say, what's the agreement status? If I click on here, I can say, and I made up all these columns and all these things. So I can say, what's the status of the payment? Did I just, nothing? Did I request the deposit? The deposit is paid. It's fully paid. What about hair and makeup? The call sheet, proofs, selections, retouching. If there's a specific deadline, what's the image count? And then you can just see up here, you know, okay, it's sent to retoucher. So these are, I'm all caught up right now, actually, which is great. All that green is good. By the way, I have a little good news for photographers, just a little preview of something I've been working on. I've come up with a version of this that I'm going to be selling on my site for photographers, and I did it in Excel, Apple Numbers, and Google Sheets, so that whichever platform you use for spreadsheets, you can have it sort of a shoot tracker, basically, with all the same info. So that's coming soon, by the way, because I realized that a lot of photographers out there don't track shit. They have no, and it's a lot of steps in each shoot, you know, to remember that in the back of your head. This is why they're failing. So you have to get organized and, you know, really keep track of each step of when you're juggling 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 shoots at once. Some were last week, so you're in the post-production. Some are coming up. One's tomorrow, one's today. You need to know where you are with this, right? Correct. So anyways, this is something that every time I show at my workshop, people are like, oh my God, this is so organized. So I know for a fact that most photographers aren't staying organized, right? So I'm going to actually make this available to people real soon. In fact, I have it out there. I gave it to some of my friends to test out and give me some notes. So there's already a couple little tweaks I'm going to make to it, but it's pretty much ready to go. But yeah, this is a big problem, and you're right, man. There are a lot of photographers fucking it up for the ones that are, you know, actually doing good and trying hard. And here's another thing. Let me suggest to every photographer on here, go ahead and start a Google business page. Okay, if you're one of the, so you know what? I know there's photographers on here that are like, man, yeah, this sucks because I'm trying to do everything right and I'm delivering and I'm professional and I got all these shitheads ruining it for me. Okay, here's what you need to do, the good photographers. Go start a Google business page and start asking after every shoot for them to leave you a review. So every time I shoot, I send out proofs, there's a little thing that says, by the way, if you wouldn't mind leaving me a review on my Google page, here's the link. And now I have a shit ton of 5-star reviews on my Google. So, you know, I want people to book me with complete confidence and not thinking about their last 3 shoots with some fucking idiots that didn't go well or the photographers didn't deliver. So there are ways to build your credibility a little bit.
When Joey says what he says, he is not lying, okay? All I did, Google Xavier D'Angelo Photography. Look, my store is closed right now because I close at 7 p.m. You understand? Like when he says what he says, he's not lying. Like, it's true. Even myself, I made sure I have my own store. It's exactly what he's saying is very important to have something like this. So trust me, like, opening up your Google store, this is not just information. We're just saying it because we feel like saying it and sound cool and stuff like that. But it actually works. It works.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. You know, and this is when people say, oh, there should be a rating system there is. It's called Google. You can be rated today.
Angela, I'm like, boom. That fast. You Google fashion photography.
I mean, I wish the models would do it too. I've been thinking, like, over the years of what a good system for rating, kind of like a Rate My Professor. The only problem is a lot of those are, 90% true, and then you got a few assholes that, go ahead and use it to take down their competition, or you have a ex-boyfriend or girlfriend who just wants to be.
All right, so I think it limits you at 1 hour, so I'm just waiting for, here he is, Mr. Xavier.
Back.
Still looking.
We hit our hour mark.
All right, yo, shout out for making it to an hour. I'm surprised.
Yeah, by the way, thanks for everybody that's on here. I appreciate that. It's a good little turnout on here. And I hope it's useful info. Again, I'm not just trying to vent and rant. I want this to be informative and help people, whether it be the photographers or models, just make it a little easier to work with everybody, because we're all on the same team. That's the other part too. Again, even photographers, right? Like, even you are essentially on the same team as your competition, your other photographers that you're competing with, because if you are clients will want to change things up, and they don't want to go from one bad experience to possibly another one, right? So if one guy out there is kind of hurting things, he's a little bit putting a dent in the entire industry. And so, if you have photographer friends that are kind of fucking up, help them out. You know what I mean? I know I do. I got some that I sort of take under my wing to an extent and try to give them some good advice.
Only I help them out. I bark at their ass when they fuck up, man. Because when they mess up, it makes us look bad. Come on, man.
In McFresh, yes, I have thought about doing that. It's going to be called Shoot the Shit. That's going to be the photography podcast. But yes, I want to. I want to do this a little more often, and I've got some great friends like Xavier who are, they're thoughtful in their approach to this whole business, and I think it's good that we can share this so easily now. So,
okay, guys, let me tell you, I'm never too good to hold a reflector.
Oh, Xavier has the least ego in the game. The dude is, where you want to be. And if I said to him, would you be down to assist me? I mean, you assisted me on a job not too long ago, right? A few months ago. Like, one of the worst. But yeah, he'll be out there handing me a sweat rag.
You know what it is? You have to, here's the thing. Not only if you want to see your friend be successful, sometimes it's beyond the money at this point, especially when it comes to a friend of mine. If my friend need a hand, hey, cool, man. I'm off today. I had nothing to do, and come on, I can come to help you, and I get to hang out too at the same time. Why not?
Yeah.
I'm never too good to hold a reflector. One thing I do when I go assist a friend, I assist them the way I would want an assistant to assist me.
That's absolutely how you should do it. And
That
you do that. You're like the epitome of, you know, the golden rule, right?
yeah,
And
you have to. If you're gonna go do it, you have to do it 100%. I mean, I just think of things like, man, this guy looked like he's sweating his ass off. I'm gonna go get him a napkin. I mean, like I think
yeah.
it's like that because I'm like, man, I know when I be sweating my ass off, I wish I had a like I do that because you just think
I'm
about
like,
man,
Xavier, I'm going to the bathroom. Who's gonna wipe me?
but I mean, I'm just saying that
This butt ain't gonna wipe itself.
yeah. We're just looking at the perspective at the end of the day, look, we want to see our friends succeed. The longer they in business, I'm in business. Because guess what?
Yeah.
When Joey gets too busy, he refers me clients. When I get too busy, same. It works. And when you have a small circle of guys, and guess what? There's nothing wrong with being an oil boy because guess what? That oil boy at some point might top you.
Yeah.
You don't know how life goes. You might get into an accident tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's
this is another thing. If there's some advice for models, like in going back to where we started on this, be nice to your photographers because I got to be honest, I've been doing this since 2008, so 11 years, right? And in that short 11 years, I've seen generations of models start, get really big, and then vanish off the scene. I've seen multiple generations.
They get a boyfriend,
right?
Over.
So we're still gonna be here till the end. Like we're gonna be going for a long time, right? And you just kind of never know. And I've definitely had some girls who started out and shot with me in their beginning of their career, got big, disappeared, and then when they were on their downward slope, they're trying to scrounge for their attention when it's fading and come back to me. And it's like, yo, you were kind of dismissive when you thought that because you got the little cameo role in some commercial that you were like hot shit, and now all of a sudden you need help again, and I'm supposed to just drop what I'm doing to do it. Like, no, it's not. So I mean, it goes both ways. Again, and here's a problem with anytime you have because people wonder like, well, why is there so much ego in this? And it's because it's a one-man sport, right? It reminds me of a time that I talked to this girl, and she was a pro tennis player who quit completely at a pretty young age. And I was like, why? Because she had a scholarship, and she's like, yeah, I ended up I just didn't want to do it anymore. And why? She goes, because I just didn't like the people that I was surrounded with. There was just so much ego building up. And I go, well, why is that? She goes, well, because it's a one-man sport. It's not a team sport. So in order to be the best tennis player, right, you kind of got to think you're the best. There's a certain level of confidence that people will think they need to have in any of these, teamless sports, such as being a photographer, right? When you Joey Wright photographer, it'd be very easy to let your name go to your head in anything where your name is your brand. So whether you're the model or you're a photographer, but that's being really short-sighted because in the big picture, you're not a photographer without models. You're not a photographer without hair and makeup artists. You're not a photographer without your videographers that your clients request when you do. You know what I mean? It's not, it may seem at times like you're, making all the magic happen, but you are not. You are not running the show alone. And that's never been the case and never was. And, and don't forget it.
Listen, with my beauty images, I'm not Xavier D'Angelo without my makeup artist.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Right.
Without my
take them out of the equation. Your photos are as good as the weakest link, right? Replace your amazing hair and makeup artist that you've taken time and years to sort of create relationships with. You subtract them from it, put in some whoever, and guess what? Your work will suffer. You know what I mean? And it will show. So this is a team sport. So let's not get confused. And the same thing, the models should realize that as well. Somebody says, how do I get a shoot with you? JoeyWrightPhoto.com. All my info is on there. And I will say I gotta be careful because we did this whole thing about collaborating and etiquette and all that stuff. I'm not out here saying, "Hey, everybody, I'm free and I'm willing to collaborate with everybody." That's not true at all. In fact, pretty much I don't really do any free shoots here in my home turf. This is where I can offer a very consistent package, right? But when I travel, I might reach out to people based on convenience and what type of look or what type of images I want to get and who's in town, that kind of stuff. So yeah, once in a while I'll do collaborations because like you said earlier, that's where the best photos come from. That's the nobody's telling you what to do. You are in complete creative control. You have full agency, and that's when all the best stuff happens for sure. So so you got to do it. You got to do them from time to time. You got to do personal work. You'll forget why you fell in love with photography if you're only taking paycheck jobs. Because in the beginning, none of them were paycheck jobs, and that's when you probably loved it the most. So don't forget that, because I don't forget that.
I remember those days. I used to carry 2 lights to the beach.
Yeah, I remember that too. I was jumping fences with that old fucking Vagabond. It was like a car battery.
We had the original Vagabonds, those big.
The orange one, yeah.
Oh my God!
Anybody that's gotten into this in the last 5 years, go look up the Alien Bee Vagabond. That old school orange one that weighed like
the mini one,
35 pounds, 40 pounds.
Before
Plus, I was carrying around a beauty dish and a strobe and light stand and my camera and all that shit by myself.
And the
I didn't have no. Actually, hold on, I gotta take these out because they're dying. You still here? Yeah. Okay. One of my friends, I was walking away from a shoot, and I don't know how, but she kind of got stuck. She was like she picked up some of the gear, and like I'm walking away, she goes, "Yo, hey, Edward Freehands, you want to help with this?" Oh my God, that was Leslie Nelson. Yeah.
I do not miss. I'm sorry, guys. To be honest with you, I don't miss my beginning stages at all. 0%.
Yeah.
Man. I'm just happy. There's some things I don't. There's some ways that I shoot. I don't know how the hell I shot. And like, I go back and look at my old pictures. I'm like, man, I can't believe I carried 2 strobes to the beach. And this is before I could afford pro photos. I don't even think a B1 even came out around that time. Those B1s, like, imagine you. Oh man, I wish I could find an old picture. I'm gonna post that. I'm gonna find out. Joey, I got all your old pictures, by the way.
I know you always tell me you saved my old shit. You got the graveyard, the Joey Wright graveyard. Actually, you know what? Everybody has them. They're on my model. I still have a Model Mayhem. I mean, I don't actively use it.
Mayhem, man. Come on, man. We gotta get Model.
Hey, yeah, I'm not hating on Model Mayhem, man. That started my photography.
That was the original Instagram, man. Let's be honest.
Exactly. That was the original. That was the OG IG.
Listen, Model Mayhem still have the best search for model, photographer, anything you can think about, retoucher system right now. I don't care. The Instagram is cool and all, but the way they break it down to like areas and like, a specific place you're looking for to look for a photographer model, Model Mayhem, bar none, still has it. It's just nobody uses it anymore.
Yeah. Actually, people still. I do castings on there for one particular client, to be honest. Like still, and it's crazy.
Not as much as people on Instagram.
No. But they're on there looking for jobs and stuff. It's not. Yeah, it's not as like social. But
right.
People are still paying attention. I know that personally.
Some photographers don't know Model Mayhem.
I was just doing a shoot the other day, and the model goes, "Hey, well, what about like on the train track?" I was like, "It's too Model Mayhem." Model Mayhem is 50% train track photos. Lots of gels. Lots of graffiti.
But you know what?
It's 25% graffiti, 50% train tracks, 10% gels. And want the occasional person sucking on a lollipop or something like one of the big ones.
Try all that shit. Let me tell you, everything the shoots that he talking about, those freaking goddamn train tracks and those color gel, do all of that, because if you're at the stage you're still learning, it's a free for all. You have time to do all that cool stuff So that way you know not to do it.
Yeah.
Like, how
That's
you
like,
gonna,
that's your training grounds, man. That's where you can make all your
100%.
mistakes and not be judged.
I'm 100%. You literally have to try everything, because if you don't, how you gonna know? I have guys that ask me how I know how to shoot natural light and know how to shoot with lighting and know how to shoot studio. Guys, just because Joey Wright do not post studio shoots as much, but that he knows how to freaking shoot really well in the studio. Why? Because he did a lot of practicing, a lot of legwork.
Because of Model Mayhem.
A lot of Model Mayhem, right pictures. You know what I'm saying? We all did it, because guess what? We still shoot outside with lights, depending on what the client looking for. We still shoot outside with lights, just not as often, but depending on the weather, we might need a little extra punch, you know?
Yeah.
But you have to learn, and it's all about practice, guys. You literally have to practice as much as you can. How many photo shoots do you guys have done?
I counted that number once. How many photo shoots? I mean, it's like thousands, I would say, but I don't know. Maybe that's.
Oh man, that's crazy. Huh?
No, it's okay. I mean, if we're talking about model shoots only, and not like kind of all the little random things over the years, and
man, that's
I don't know. It's safe to say 5. I don't know. Is it 500? Is it 1,000? I don't know.
You're talking about how many models we shot?
Yeah.
There's no way, bro. We shot Tropic Beauty, and that.
Oh my God, that alone.
Come on, let's be honest. You forgot that part.
Because we would do 20 models.
20 models.
So that's what I mean. It's like weird because like I've done things like that, Tropic Beauty, where we would for a full day, you know, or for a 4 day straight, just shoot model for 30 minutes each. So you counting those as well? Because that's.
Yes, we said everything.
Yeah, true. So how many models have been in from like?
Think about it. You talk about
probably a couple thousand.
I don't know. Let's just talk about that company. Think about it. We shot 4 days. I remember shooting we shot like it was 100 models total or something like that. 150 models or something like that. And we broke it down to like 3-4 of us, 20 models a day, and we had to rotate them. That's 20. Let's say by the end of
No, because it was 100 for the whole week, I think. So we had 20 total. So we would do like 2 or 3 days. So we do like 8 to 10 a day.
8 to 10. But let's say we did 30, hypothetically.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. Sometimes
30
we did.
on just that shoot. That's 30.
Yeah, and that was years.
Years.
Yeah.
60 girls.
Somebody said, "Do you guys work with agencies? They assign you guys jobs?" Not. I have agencies that say, "Hey, are you testing right now?" And that's assumed paid. And then if I'm free and I'm not completely wrapped up in like more commercial clients, then yeah, I'll take them. But it's not a regular. I'm not like a sidecar to an agency so they can just be like, "Hey, Joey, we got another one. Hey, we got another one." It's not like that. It's more like, well, we just kind of keep in communication from time to time. Or, "Hey, Joey, we got this new girl in town. She needs some photos. Are you free to do it before she leaves on Monday?" That kind of thing. So I get that.
It's very important. It's important to keep a relationship with the agencies. It's very important.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, fuck, I hire models from agencies and, for my workshops and stuff like that, or I'll help clients who have never done a shoot before and they need to hire models. So I'll be the one to I'll be like sort of the liaison to reach out to the agency and say, "Hey, here's what we're looking for," to kind of get the communication started with that client. So, yeah. So how do you book commercial gigs? By the way, when I say that, I don't mean like TV commercials. I mean, let's be clear on that term. Just, where it's a brand, right? The brand is putting together a shoot. They're hiring a photographer. They're hiring makeup. They're hiring the models. It's a commercial gig, not versus a test shoot where it's basically a model hiring you to shoot for their portfolio, right? So those are the two sort of separate things. And honestly, here's what you want to do is, like, test shoots, you're going to cap out at a certain number because that's really what models can afford to pay versus a big company can afford to pay you a lot more for a day rate, right? So one good commercial gig could be, that you could knock out in, let's just take a recent example, a job that I just recently did. It was like a 4-day shoot and I would have had to have done, and so let's say it's 4 days of shooting. I'll probably have a couple days of editing. So let's say 6 days put into that. I would make the same money if I'd have to do about 15 test shoots. So those are 15 different days that I have to shoot, and 15 people I have to plan with and book hair and makeup for. So do the little shoot stuff, plus a half a day editing for each of those. So you're talking about 15 days, or 15 half days, but then another half day of editings. Yeah, you're talking about like maybe 20 days of work versus 6 days of work for the same pay. So that's why, my focus is not test shoots. So I hope people aren't butthurt when they're like, hey, and I'm like, hey, listen, I'm not testing right now. That's because I've got, these 3 commercial clients that, I want to really kick ass for, and I'm not going to try to cram in some shoot that's a fraction of the pay, and possibly sacrifice or, take away my sanity due to just lack of sleep to do a good job for that commercial client who's paying me much more and will be hiring me year after year after year. So,
100%.
So that's
Those
the
commercial
difference.
clients for sure. You keep a good relationship with them. You be working for a while. That's for sure.
Yeah. And no, editorial is different. Editorial would be more like, editorial assignments are more for magazines and stuff where you're kind of telling a story and this and that. I don't focus on that really. First of all, there's no money in magazines for the most part. I don't like saying any absolutes. I'm sure there are some people out there that have figured out some niche and they're killing it within a magazine market. But generally speaking, print is dying / near dead. Right. So that's when a magazine, hey, could we, would you want to shoot for us? I'm like, what's the compensation? They're like, well, it's, going to be great exposure. I'm like, no, thank you. Like, thank you for the opportunity.
I'm going to tell you when everything died, when screenshot came out.
Yeah.
When they let you, when screenshotting on your phone came out, everything.
Yeah. Right.
For sure.
And that's the other thing too. If a magazine like, oh, we'll give you credit. It's like, who's gonna see it? Can somebody click on it? What? I'm like, I have more. And listen, if you started photography yesterday and you got some magazine that wants you to shoot for them, fucking shoot for them for sure, 100%. I did it in the past. I'm just saying now at this point, I will have better. I will have a better viewing of my work if I were to just do a collab with a model with 1 million followers than any magazine out there. I mean, for the most part, unless it's Vogue or Sports Illustrated or something like that. And even those, by the way, Sports Illustrated does not pay the photographers. They do not pay the models. So if you were doing it, you were doing it purely for exposure. Okay. And do you think I would ask anybody in this to name a Sports Illustrated photographer. Name one. And maybe a couple of you can, but probably most of you can't.
Joey Wright.
No, I'm not. I don't shoot for their magazine, right? So this is why it's not a huge focus. It's not. Yeah, no pay. I don't know if anybody thinks that. Like, if you got to them, you'd be at this pinnacle and you'd be getting this bank ass check for. Yeah, how much is my mortgage and exposure? It's
like,
I tried to pay an exposure recently and it didn't work. So,
I mean, actually, one thing I can say, girls are not. Maybe me, I can speak for myself. Not trying to hit me with the "can I pay you exposure?" Like, what more? Like, what is even like? I actually had a girl say, "Can we do TFP?" And that right there, I'm like, where did she find that ancient word?
ancient. FJ, take it easy.
Print. I'm like, who's printing? Like, I don't remember the last time I printed anything.
I think when somebody says it now, they mean time for photos.
Oh,
trade for photos.
It
was like trade for print, trade for photos, or time and trade were kind of interchangeable. Photos, print was interchangeable.
Just don't use the word TFP when you DM me, please, because
it's a collab now. That's what it is. That's what when you want to say you're not willing to pay, you just say, hey, would you be interested in collaborating? Love your work. Blah blah blah. A nice little compliment. Never hurts anyone.
Nice, at least. You know what I mean?
That is a Model Mayhem phrase for sure. That's
definitely a model. Yeah, 100%.
No TFP.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be a photographer rapper called Little TFP.
Hey, listen, guys, please, photographers, please take it off your bio. I don't do TFP.
Yeah,
Just
if it's
take
on your
it off.
bio, you
Look
sound
good
old
on your
as fuck.
bio. If you put don't shoot TFP, you look.
By the way, speaking of bio peeves, when a photographer has like a picture of like a cartoon or something like that on their thing, I instantly think serial killer. I don't know why. When a photographer has like a picture of not even themselves and not a model, it's like some random like Google image thing, I just think serial killer, like right off the bat. So like show yourself somewhere, like show who some, like, 20-year-old model is going to show up to some strange location with,
With Bart Simpson.
Marvin the Martian or whatever. Put your damn face on something and have a little transparency.
Hey, let me tell you, this is one thing I can tell you. I so much don't post my pictures online. I posted one damn picture and everybody said happy birthday.
Oh my God.
I put one picture of myself up. Somebody said, happy birthday, Xavier. I'm like, it's not my damn birthday. I just wanted to freaking finally post a picture but you guys can see how I look like. It's happy birthday. I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm gonna take this picture down.
Yeah, it's a very personal experience. I mean, it's this very like one-on-one with another human being. Like, I want to know who the fuck I'm showing up to. You know what I mean? Like, we get to see, we know exactly who's walking in the door from the model's end. It kind of shouldn't be the other way. Not that like it's based on looks, but I don't know if you got.
Now,
like,
if a photographer, listen, guys, if a photographer posts too many pictures of himself,
yeah, it gets a little weird too.
That gets weird,
Yeah.
guys. If you're posting too many shirtless pictures of yourself on Instagram,
Yeah, if it appears that you are maybe the model and not the photographer, and you don't own a T-shirt, then that's going too far.
I mean, I wish I can get to that level, but I don't think I ever want to go to that level of having more pictures of myself than the actual models' pictures, and that's just crazy. And photographers, listen,
If you guys need a headshot, go see Chris Headshots on here right now. He'll do your headshot for your bio. By the way, somebody's gonna be like, Joey, you don't have a picture in your bio. I do not, but I post regularly in my stories.
For sure.
I have people recognize me from time to time, which is cool. That means it's working. That means that, like, okay, I feel like my transparency level is at a place that I want. And if somebody can, just recognize me, that because I've shown myself enough, like, cool, I'm happy with that. And I have a little thing in my story highlights that says me. And it's literally, it's like all the stories that have had me in it. So it's very easy. Holly Parker, how you doing? Holly.
Hey, how you doing? I miss you.
We haven't seen you in a while.
I haven't seen you in a while. Shout out to
Hope
Holly.
all is good. Holly's a great photographer and a model. Let's see. So, hey, let's say. By the way, I had food cooking. Remember when I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna hop on"? I had food on there.
Right.
And I took it out of the oven at 11:30. It's one. I'm gonna have to throw it right back in the oven. Yeah, we're good from the storm. We got really lucky because the storm. So Xavier's down a little more south in Miami, and I'm in Fort Lauderdale, but it actually kind of turned a little bit north. So yeah, we're getting rain and some wind, but it's not bad at all.
Basically took all our bookings for the week and moved to next week for sure.
Yeah, well, I got amazing time, like, of nobody bothering me to edit photos these last 48 hours. So that was one good thing to happen. I already had charged up all these batteries because I was like, okay, if I lose power, I'm just gonna edit. And so I have all these like I have this battery charger thing that I use for my laptop. So I was prepared to go into a major editing session. I still did it anyways, but no, we got real lucky. Not can't say the same for those in the Bahamas right now. They are getting battered, and the fucking storm is going like 1 mile an hour, like as far as it moving or something like that. Some crazy. Mm-hmm. It's just stalled out. Just shredding up the Bahamas.
I mean, it really sucks for the the people in the Bahamas. It really does. And I saw a couple videos up, and it was not looking good.
Yeah, it was fucking crazy surge, man. The water was like, I saw somebody in like a 2-story house, and you saw water up to their windows on the second floor.
I mean, I honestly went to snacks this morning, and I think God Publix was still open because I ran out of snacks because I ate everything over the weekend.
Yeah, I went up to the food, my meal prep place, and I just got a bunch more meals. And, I was like, I'm not gonna prep food for this. I'm just gonna go buy it already cooked, and if you know, yeah, that's it.
I mean, that we still have power, that's for sure.
Wait, sharks in the living room? Holy shit, that was actually a thing?
Oh, that's crazy.
Holy fuck. Man, that's crazy. That is nuts. Any questions? I think we've kind of wrapped up our topics. If there's any final questions, maybe we can answer before we go. I'm down to take a couple.
Definitely the best time to ask a few questions. It's not even in person.
G-shots. Wait, Gia, what club was it again? Remind me. I'm sorry. I can't see. I'm fucking blind and I can't see your little profile. Oh, G from sorry. Yeah. You were at the crew call. Yeah, dude. It was good. Thanks for the shots. G-shots hooked up the shots the other night. I had a little. I went out for a couple hours with Chris. Little like birthday celebration. Yeah, so let's see. Showing yourself a fucking shark. What about OnlyFans models? Would you shoot them if your book is commercial? Well, so let's say okay, I think what you're asking is like a really sexy model that does OnlyFans, but you have like really commercial work. Should you shoot them? If they ask you, if they're maybe paying you to shoot, yeah, of course. I shoot. I'm not like above anybody, right? Like if I have 10, like right now I kind of have a waiting list, right? So if I have 10 models that are all willing to pay, yeah, I'm gonna prioritize probably the ones that I think not only, well, I know they're going to pay, but also I think would be good for my book. So it's sort of 2 for 1, right? But like, let's say I have no work and, somebody that's not out there like killing babies on their page, whatever, is going to pay me to shoot. Yeah, I'll pay them. I won't necessarily, it doesn't have to fit my portfolio and I don't have to feel bad about that. And nobody should be upset about that. But that's your decision, and maybe like, okay, here's an example. I think that'd be more relatable. I remember there was a model that I shot that I'm like, okay, she doesn't fit my book at all. Right. And again, and why that's important is because like, let's say I have a very specific niche, right? And I do swimwear photography and I kind of have an idea of what the swimwear brands, what types of models and looks they hire, right? Which is different than say fitness brands, right? Which is different than say OnlyFans girls, right? So I try to stay in my lane and shoot the girls. So basically when the brands that are most likely to hire me or that I want to hire me see my photos, they pretty much see the photo they want minus their swimsuit. And that's it, right? So that's, it's like, you kind of want to give them this little vision of, well, this is what you could have, except with your swimsuit on that model instead, right? That's the best way to sell it. So on the other hand, I had done this in the past when this was like when Instagram was only a couple years old, and one of a girl that had like about 1 million followers at a time where that was like unheard of, right? I remember shooting her and I had maybe 10,000 followers at the time, and she posted a behind the scenes photo and I got 500 followers in 30 minutes. And I was like, holy shit.
Oh, that's what was on point. It was on drugs.
Hi, Rich. What up, buddy? Jay's on. So yeah, it was, I specifically did that shoot for tapping into her network of 1 million followers.
Correct.
That was my pay, right? So this goes back to the idea that, look, you don't have to look at it as like, we'll not shoot for free. Like, well, yeah, don't shoot. How about this? Don't shoot for nothing. Make that should be the phrase, is like, I won't shoot for nothing.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe you shoot because you just like, this person is the most fun fucking person to shoot with. There's a reason right there. That's your pay, is your happiness. If you get a big paycheck, but you'll never post that photo, there's your pay. if you get major exposure, which is going to lead to jobs, and then you get paid, there's your pay. So don't trap yourself into this idea that like, you know, no free shoots. Like, yeah, I get that, like, in the sense of don't shoot for nothing.
Correct.
Okay. So that's
an end goal for that. Yeah, you kind of have, every time you have someone contact you, you kind of, if they're not saying, okay, well, let's collab. Let's say if someone say, let's collab to me, I kind of look at the background and say, is this worth my time? You know?
Yeah.
Because you have that opportunity to think about it. Like, okay, well, would this really worth my time? Or is this person, you know, I get girls that have almost no portfolio, but they have a specific look that I probably wanted. You find those dozens where he's like, wow, a needle in a haystack. You're like, wow, you know what, this girl here? Like, because at the end of the day, as photographers, you might, it's crazy how for some reason why we like this, Joey might shoot a girl, and I'm like, damn, where the hell did she come from? You understand? Like, we don't see it until another photographer shoot it, you know?
Right.
So
yeah,
there's those times where you might see a girl like, wow, this girl look amazing. I definitely want to work with her just as just me being an artist, like, you know?
Yeah, it's just something about the person catches your eye. Just like if you were a landscape photographer and you were scrolling the web and you're like, oh my God, what is this? Antelope Canyon. I have to shoot it. It's fucking amazing. I want to see that in person. It's the same thing. Just it's sometimes hard to describe, you know, why.
You know,
but
like Holly just said, you know, someone had to be discovered. At the end of the day, even us as photographers still being discovered. Everybody don't know who we are at the end of the day. I'm not no Kim Kardashian where, you know, she walked down the street, they know who that is, you know? So, yeah, we all have to, we still being discovered every day. We still every day in the work. We still want to grow to be beyond where we at right now.
Right. By the way, let's knock out a few of these questions. One of them is about taxes. You guys deal with taxes overall. So listen, actually, this is something I just finally got like really tightened up in the last year. Not that I wasn't doing it, but I finally got a really good accountant. So I switched accountants. And so I also sort of dissolved my old company, my corporation or whatever. Now I have an LLC, and I have my business card, my business account. That's where all my paychecks go. That's where all my card swipes go for work. And my accountant sees it all on his end in QuickBooks, and he takes care of it. So basically,
same here.
Look, my advice is just, yeah, you're supposed to report everything, okay? I'm not going to tell you on here to store cash under your bed. But definitely separate it. Make your life easier. Make sure you have a business account and a personal account. Also, Holly says, what are you interested in shooting right now? What's inspiring you? I'll say
you, Holly.
Yep. That's one thing. Is Holly inspires me. And and then also for me, it's new locations. That's what's I still love doing swim, right? That part, but it doesn't excite me to go out to Key Biscayne and do a shoot every time. What excites me is knowing I'm really helping somebody's portfolio. So when they hire me, I'm like, I'm gonna go out here. I know I know how to work this beach and this beach and this beach that I'm gonna take you to, and we will like really jumpstart your portfolio. That does excite me. But I think what inspires me for personal shoots are just locations that like exploring places that I've never been to. So that's why I said when I travel now, I try to set up shoots because I love it. I love shooting it. And it's a challenge, and it's when, you know, you are sort of just getting out of your autopilot mode for once and doing something, you know, new and creative. And that, I love that. That's what, so my goal is like, I look at my calendar and I'm like, where do I see a gap in there? And okay, cool. Let's fill that with somewhere to go. I'm going to travel. So it's time to use up some of these miles.
Like I said, for me, new locations for sure, bar none. I would have to say to keep that same new photographer energy. When you first started off, you just like this kid that's ready to take pictures, you know? Now, when I started adding onto my images, which I think I've seen you do it before, where I go to a place. So when I went to Cuba, yes, I was shooting a model in Cuba, but I just randomly just started taking pictures of the people, the kids, and the buildings. I didn't do that before when I went on location because I'm more, like I said, I like shooting people, but what's keeping me going right now is just going to these new locations and not just focus on shooting a model at a dope location, but just being able to shoot the location. I mean, who's saying no?
Yeah.
Listen, photographers, I'm sorry, I have to disagree. I get some sleep at this point in my photography career. I get a lot of sleep, a lot of sleep, because I remember me and Joey spoke about this. I did not quit my
No,
job.
you missed it. Somebody, Ronald Wayne says, comment no sleep if you've been here from the beginning of this live.
Oh, yo, shout out, yo.
So actually, these are all of our, these are all the best people on here.
Yeah. You got, listen,
Thank you to everybody that stayed on this whole thing.
Live Rich, come on, man. Like,
and by the way, Holly, no, it's not hard to get it start an LLC, and you definitely just need a good accountant. Listen, photographers, best tax advice: get a good accountant. Done. And that means it's like somebody that when you go to their office, like you vibe, because you're gonna have to spend time really, like, you know, working with them. They are gonna be a little part of your team forever going forward. So my accountant will, you know, reach out to me if he sees something like, hey, what was this? You know, I see this big charge popped up. You know, just let me double check what it's for. That kind of thing. But
you know what, Joey? Let's not forget. And we spoke about this. Learning how to do your own accounting is very important too.
Oh, for sure. You should learn about it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, learning on how to do your own, because I remember you showed your balance sheet one time and year by year, and I learned how to do my own accounting. It took me years to figure out how to break my numbers down. And when I remember you was telling me how when you get a receipt, if you buy something, you got a little jar, you kind of put the receipt there. It's the same thing here. When I buy flights, I automatically save it into a folder.
But now the good thing, dude, I will tell you, you need to come by and see the new system, because now I'm in QuickBooks. So
no, I have that. No, I have my QuickBook is.
Oh, you do? Okay. So now you can just take a picture of your receipt, whatever. It's easy, and then the accountant handles it all in the back end.
Yeah. Now,
by the way, there was another question on here. Fuck, where'd it go? Hold on. Okay, it was after that. Oh, somebody said, this is for LC Photo. Hey guys, new in Miami, doing collab shoots to build a portfolio. Is it a good idea to ask the agencies if they need pictures, or do they already have their go-to guys? So they'll have their go-to guys that will do their paid tests. When they're like, hey, this girl needs photos and we can't fuck around. We need them right away. We need to build her book and start selling her. They're going to go to one of their go-to guys, pay them. But they're going to also have girls that are sitting around not working. So when you reach out, they're like, oh, yeah, this is a free test. Let's get so-and-so, you know, she could use a little more stuff in her book, but she is not able to afford to pay for it right now, that kind of thing. Ultimately, remember that the model's paying for it. If you are getting paid by an agency, it's coming out of the model's account within the agency, right? So like the agency kind of has, it's like they become a bank for the model. Right? So they're going to charge the model for the model housing, their test shoots, maybe a fee for being on the website, whatever. But then the model gets a job, so they put their, you know, percentage in their account, and it all starts balancing out. And you know, they become the bank for the model in a sense, right? Let's see how to get more paid work with a low following count on Instagram. Everyone looks at Instagram following as just go whore out your work. Be a fucking photo prostitute. You know what I mean? Get eyeballs. Again, this is like an eyeball game, and you just need as many as possible. So shoot. Get a good portfolio going. So you do that by, you know, reaching out, DMing models that are in your area. And by the way, careful to you know where you stand, because you're not going to get the experienced 10 model to work with you when you're like at level 1 photography, right? Unless you pay them maybe. But look. Get started, build up a portfolio, and then start reaching out to different brands, boutiques, stuff like that, and just offer them shoots. If you offer a shoot to a brand, now you've open the door to that relationship. And maybe you started with, hey, listen, I'm just looking to build my portfolio, blah, blah. And cool, you shoot a few of their looks. That's not if they were going to hire, you're not giving them a free shoot. If they're going to hire you, you're going to be shooting 100, 50 looks in a day or whatever, not 3 looks that they gave you to do a test shoot. So when you do a test shoot, it's like the free sample at Costco. You know what I mean? So go out and give away free samples to people. If nobody's paying you yet, go give the samples away and use that as this opportunity to let them, you're basically within that low-key pitching them how professional you are, how good your photography is, how fast on a turnaround you are, how easy to reach you are. There's all these things that, and I even challenge photographers to do this. Go hire a photographer sometime. Figure out some dumb shit that you want pictures of and hire a photographer and see how much of a pain in the ass it is. And sort of now you start thinking through the process like, okay, wait a minute. Well, how do I know they're good? How do I know they're consistent? Mm-hmm. Okay, they haven't, I reached out to them 2 weeks ago. They haven't got back to me. I'm like, is it going to be this hard to get my images from them? You know what I mean? I'm trying to give them, right? So think of it from a client perspective and be the photographer that you would hire and then go offer that sample out to as many people locally as possible. And then when it's time for them to do, okay, this boutique gave you a few outfits and hey, they really like working with you. Well, 3 months later, they actually want to shoot a little campaign. You're probably first in line. So don't think that it's this instant overnight thing. It certainly is not. And it's, I stayed at my day job for 4 or 5 years. I think 2008 to 2013, 5 years that I had both my day job and photography, like starting as a photographer. But by year 3, I could have been full-time. I was making more money with photography than at work, but I stuck it out for another 3 years just to be certain that I was getting repeat clients. And yeah, that was I did it very conservatively. I didn't just go run off to become a photographer. I tested the waters like a lot, maybe too much, because I was not sleeping for those last couple years. I mean,
those years is what build you to be the person that you are right now. It's very important. Honestly, this photography is how do you get paid on time? I feel like I'm chasing my money. Honestly, it's crazy. I just converted a lot of I started a Shopify. It works for me. The reason
Shopify? You started Shopify for what?
I have to show you. I'm gonna tell you why.
Wait, what are you selling on it?
It's not
your package.
It's more so I was having the issue with, receiving deposits. Yeah, we can all receive deposits through.
You're talking about for booking shoots and getting paid. You're doing it through Shopify.
Through Shopify, and more so
you can also do it through QuickBooks too.
That's true, but the reason why I did it through Shopify, I treated my business like if it was a store that's not selling a physical product. I'll show you the way I set it up. What I liked about Shopify, it gave people so many options to pay. Listen, when you go to my site right now, and then when I show you when we get off.
Always get a deposit, by the way.
Shopify gives the person the option to click Apple Pay. When you click Apple Pay, it's already in your bank account. Literally, it's already trying to pay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've been having issue a lot of times in PayPal where people could not find the drop. I don't know. It's not PayPal. It's definitely the person. Where they find the little drop by where to put in their credit card.
Yeah.
And I was having that issue for so many years. I'm like, I need another system. What it is, I tested out the Shopify system, and they gave people so many options of payments. And guess what? The percentage that they take is just as much of what a PayPal would have took. So,
oh, really? Okay, that's cool.
And it broke down. At the end of the day, it rounded up to the same thing. So I'm gonna send you my link and
that's interesting. I use Stripe for my workshop, and I use Samcart with Stripe payments,
right.
And then on my shop on my website, I use Stripe instead of PayPal. But for deposits, for I do a test shoot and it's $100 deposit, whatever. I use PayPal still because I can just do it from my phone really easily and just do request money, and then it's a quick way to do that.
After I show you how I set mines,
I do want to see yours though. That sounds cool. I'm
if I
interested.
send it to you right now, literally, I can get this out your pockets.
And the nice thing about PayPal though is that you could just, when it's, you know, say $100, just do friends and family, and it's no percentage. But you know, I didn't say that. But yeah, I'm interested to see. I want to see that.
I agree with you that part. And look, we can't win it all, right? And that part, if a person do pay you through PayPal, it's not going to go through as friends and family. It is what it is. I mean, it's one of those things where you just cannot avoid, because Shopify are going to, of course, they're going to get their 2.5%, 2.3%, or whatever the percentage is, but it automatically sends it to your PayPal. But I just like the way it's more convenient on. For me, I think it's more convenient because sometimes a person's attention span is only so short. If they can't, oh my God, I can't figure it out, and they kind of like, forget about it.
Yeah.
Or they'll forget, because sometimes if we get booked,
I never have problems with PayPal though. I mean, to be honest, like I never really have anybody like, I can't figure it out. Like I can't remember the last time, because now it's like, look at who are we shooting? And this is my commercial clients. I'm not getting deposits. They're sending me checks or whatever, right? So that's not an issue. Or I get some that are direct deposit or whatever, for anything that's like a residual. But oh, you sent me the link. I see that. Cool. Oops. Hold on. So yeah, the PayPal thing is really, I just use that for test shoots for the deposit, and it seems pretty. So far, it's been good. But I'm gonna check out yours. I like the idea of that, and
right.
Because I could do that on my site too. I could actually just add it to my Squarespace and put a little page that's like test shoot deposit, right? And then they can just look like a little store. So.
And before I even decided to do that, I was using Squarespace too. But the only issue I had with Squarespace, you have to kind of fill out a little form, right? Then put it on cart. Then it start running that transaction. Listen, Shopify is literally in your pocket. Then ask questions.
Yeah. You understand? I'm gonna check that out. All right, I'm gonna go through your I'm gonna go through yours and check that out.
Right.
Well, listen, dude. I think we covered some good stuff on here. We should do this more often.
Hey, man, let's do it. I'm definitely down.
Whenever some shit comes up, some topic that's worth talking about, let's get that ring light out of yours, and then.
Listen, man, I got.
Hey, can you show?
Ooh, you see that? Come on, baby. Come on, man. You should have it, man. I still got my hair, guys. You know what I'm saying? I still have my hair. That's all that matters. You know, only models will understand why I put this rag to go to sleep. I want to wake up where it looks all nicely put together when I wake up in the morning, you know?
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah.
That's why.
Under his hair right now, what he did is he kind of took the hair and combed it over.
Yeah.
Through the hat, so he look beautiful when he wakes up. You know how it is.
Oh, I know how it is.
So definitely.
Oh, I know.
Guys, thank you so much. Yo, shout out to
thanks for everybody that came on for 2 hours, because our little like second hour is gonna run out in a minute.
For sure.
Or like in like 5 minutes. But yeah, thank you for everybody that stayed on here for 2. I honestly did not expect to stay on this long. And see, this is why I love talking to you. I can't, when you call me, like I don't pick up if I don't have an hour. Like I'll text you, be like, yo, I'm working or whatever. But then I'll call you back when not when I'm on the drive home for 5 minutes, but like when I'm home and I got a good hour, because I know you and me can chat. And what happened when I first called you and said, hey, do you want to go on live? We started talking. I was like, wait, we got to stop because we're going to use up our conversation before we go on the live. So we got to be careful. We should maybe only text and say, do you want to go live about this?
Yeah, then we can
because we can freestyle once we get on.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
All right, let's do it. I wonder how I could, can I post this on YouTube somehow?
I wish, man. I don't know.
I tried to record it on my phone, but like with the screen recorder, it didn't work. Anyways, I think I can get it through the IG Live or something. Yeah. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Yeah.
All right, guys. It's a pleasure. Shout out to everyone that tuned in till like 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
That's just crazy. You guys obviously sitting in a hurricane right now, but you be talking to husband like till 1:30 in the morning. But hey, y'all ain't run out of snacks apparently. So, guys, 2 fingers. Stay beautiful.
All right. All right. Peace out, everyone. Mr. Xavier D'Angelo Loomis, thank you so much.
The longest name.
That's right. All right. Hey, I'll talk to you later, and everybody else, be good out there.
All right, bet.
Okay. Peace.